Hi, this is Laura Holyoke, and I have an overview for you today of our course this summer, this quick 4-week summer course, and just a little bit about organization development and how I teach it. What I'm going to cover is what organization development is in its most simple form, learning activities that we will do this summer, and then again how I will teach it. So one definition of organization development, this is by Beckard, is that it is a planned effort that crosses the organization and it's managed from the top in order to increase organization effectiveness and health through interventions in the organization's processes using behavioral science knowledge. Another way to look at it is that the O is about organizations or systems of all kinds. Organizations can be families, they can be very small businesses, they can be large businesses, they can be subdivisions in a large organization. So these are the units throughout society that are human organizations existing to accomplish some sort of purpose. The D is about change and improvement, development, growing towards something, getting better at one's mission, improving how work gets done. And just a note that it is organization development and not organizational development. So OD practitioners, what they do is improve the effectiveness of the people and organizations by observing, researching, and evaluating systems. I'm going to come back to this. Then identifying approaches or interventions to improve the effectiveness of the organization and its people. Applying these approaches or interventions. These are the methods of the planned change. And then evaluating ongoing effectiveness. It's a lot of stuff going on in organization development. This course, 577, is about the first bullet point, that we will be observing, researching, evaluating, or analyzing what's going on in organizations. Therefore, I teach it in a certain way. I use, Bowman and Deal call them frames. I call them lenses. I've renamed a couple of them just a little bit. So there's 4 different ways of looking at organizations. I'm going to come back and talk about each one of these briefly. So the goal then is to develop skills seen through multiple lenses, to reframe our thinking, to look through each one of these lenses and see what we, or observe what we see going on in an organization. So the issues remain the same, however, how we view them is what changes. Most people go on to be organization consultants, and what they do is you need to know what you are looking at in an organization. Where are there issues? What can be improved? Our learning activities, 3 different things. Many of you who have had me before know that I often use ensuing discussions. These are face-to-face in real time. I'll talk more about these coming up. And then OD, Organization Development Content Notes. We'll do 4 of these. And then an application paper that I will describe in a little bit, and that's worth 400 points. And just to note, that paper is due June 30th. So you'll have some time after all the course activities kind of finish up to complete your application paper. So for each frame or lens, what I ask you to do is to complete the assigned readings. There will always be readings in the Bowman and Deal text. And I'll have some miscellaneous organization development readings that you will see on the syllabus, and you will also note them by week, what's going on in the week, and they are listed under there. I believe all of them can be easily accessed through our library at the University of Idaho. To view any associated PowerPoint presentation, so for each Each frame or lens, I will record a PowerPoint, so you get information in an additional format. And then to partake in an ensuing discussion, and finally to complete your OD content notes. So the ensuing discussions happen real time. Pre-discussion, I think I've seen somebody email out asking if others can join in on a discussion. And the discussion itself should be about your readings, should contribute directly to your OD content notes. And then post-discussion, just one person from that discussion just to write down the list of participants, the date that you met, the place of the discussion, and then a brief summary about what you talked about. These can be bulleted points. If you have any questions, your group has any questions, please email me. I will also host ensuing discussions. These are not mandatory to attend. I chose Tuesdays to host these discussions, so the first one will be tomorrow evening, May 14th. They will all start at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and run for an hour. Please come having questions, wanting to discuss stuff. I won't be leading or lecturing during the class. However, I'm happy to talk about any of the content and things that come up in your questions. If you attend an ensuing discussion and actively participate in it, then you will receive ensuing discussion points. The content notes, I'm asking you to include a summary of the frame or lens, so you can situate it within organization development. And then I will provide you a list of concepts for each one of the frames and lenses. So to choose two of the provided concepts and then explain and connect to the content. I have a couple of examples that I will upload for you on BBLearn. So the structural view is what we will cover first. This lens eliminates the non-human aspects of an organization. So many people find this to be the cleanest lens, again, because we're not talking about individuals, we're talking about the structure of an organization, how work gets done, who does what work. So some metaphors would be a blueprint, the architecture, the framework, linkages, foundation. Then the second lens or frame that we view, Bowman and Deal call it the human resources frame. I call it a trifocal lens, and I call it trifocal because I include three different areas in it. One is the personal. This is about the human beings. What is similar or different about them and how do they fit in organizations. The second part of the trifocal lens is a family or group lens, group dynamics and how people work together. And then the third one really looks at the organization as if it is an organism, that it reacts overall as an organization, as an organism, and it can get sick or be healthy, just like a person. So this lens is based on ideas from psychology, borrows lots of concepts from family systems and understanding of people. It's about personal characteristics of individuals and their effects on organizations, how people are regarded and interact in groups. And then again, looking at the organization as if it were a person. Organizations have life cycles just like people do, and there can be healthy and sick organizations. The next one is a political view. So the political frame or lens looks at the phenomenon of competing interests. This is about how power is used or struggles for power in organizations to protect and further interests of individuals or alliances. And then the role that competing for scarce resources plays and that contributes to our political problems. And then finally, the fourth lens or frame is a cultural lens. Bowman and Deal call this symbolic frame. And this is viewing organizations in a way that focuses on issues of meaning in the organization. So what has meaning and what it means in different organizations. That's a quick overview of each one of the frames. I'm also going to record a structural frame / lens PowerPoint today, this afternoon. It's Monday. And then finally, you'll do an OD application paper. I'll ask that you use the movie either The Devil Wears Prada or The Intern, and then write a paper responding to questions for each lens. I provide the questions. They are based on each one of the frames or lenses, and you have a list of questions. I ask that you choose 2 questions for each one of the frames or lenses. Example questions. The first one is from the structural lens. What are the overt and explicit goals and strategies of the organization? And then the one from the trifocal lens, choose a group dysfunction and apply it to one of the intact groups in the organization. So I've used The Devil Wears Prada before. I've not used The Intern yet. I think they both have Anne Hathaway in them. So finally, if you have any questions, please ask. I've been teaching 29 years, most of my life. I still don't read students' minds, and I still screw up a lot. So if you have a question or a comment or insight, you see that I've left something out or overlooked something, please let me know. I want us to have a fun learning experience, and I'm really happy that you're here. Thanks so much. And I wanted to explain these 2 pictures. The one in the upper right-hand corner, this is my son running through a rainstorm, and I actually had taken a video and then did a freeze frame and took a picture of this part of the video that I thought it was kind of cool because everything was blurry, and his face is the least blurry thing. But he's telling me that he'll be right back. He's running towards a rainbow. And then the lower right-hand picture is me and my mom, and that was taken this spring down in Mexico.